Dear students, in the previous classes, we have studied about various approaches and we have seen that classical approaches, then neoclassical approaches and modern approaches, the categories of the organizational behavior. And in today's class, we'll be focusing on two approaches, that is administrative management and bureaucratic management. And in the just previous class, we saw scientific management, that is given by F.W. Taylor, and this also we have studied in the management theory and practice these two concepts. But just to remind you something about, I'll be continuing. Just recall who gave the administrative management theory. So I hope you know that and you are aware. So Henry Fayol has given the this one technique. So administrative management will study, and basically you are aware that he has given 14 principles of management, then 5 functions of management. So this is also called as a functional approach. So from this also to the organizational behavior some contribution is given. That contribution will be studying here. So Henry Fayol, an industrialist of France, is the father of administrative management. So F.W. Taylor was the father of scientific management. Everything need to be systematized in the management, he said. Now this month is giving importance to the process of management. So this approach is also known as a process management, because all the process of managements are dealt by Henry Fayol. This approach lays emphasis on the development of broad administrative principles which can be applied to general and higher managerial levels. So, in this approach, the business activities has been divided into 6 categories. They are, see, he divides all the business activities, especially technical, and commercial, financial, security, accounting, and managerial activities. So, he makes a division of the 6 activities. So, technical, that which is related with the techniques. Commercial, so that is buying and selling. So financial, money matters. Then security, safety measures. Accounting, bookkeepings. Then you have a managerial activities, organizing, planning, directing, controlling, those aspects. So the main components of managerial activities are planning, organizing, coordinating, commanding, and controlling. So this is given by Henry Fayol. You must remember that 5 functions he has given. According to Henry Fayol, the management is a type of activity which is performed in the same manner in all business as well as non-business organizations. In the business organizations as well as in the non-business organizations, all the management techniques are followed. He has given 5 functions of management. They are planning, organizing, coordinating, commanding, and controlling, and 14 principles of management. This is the greatest contribution by Henry Fayol to the management. So we'll go. Here are Henry Fayol's 14 principles of management. I just glanced through you because see, now when we are studying to the organization and behavior, we are taking only the behavioral aspects and what all things he has said regarding the human resource, that we are taking to our study. That's why we are thinking from the perspective of human resource. See, I need not explain these things once again because you have studied in management theory and practice. Now I am explaining you these things once again to bring back to your mind. Not only that, you have to look for today these aspects from the this one behavioral point of view, human resource point of view. So division of work. See, now we automatically whom we are dividing for the people. So how division of work, what happens? Expertise in a particular what you call particular process of production, a person becomes, say, authority. It is a concept of what you call organization behavior. Discipline is the organizational behavior. Unity of command, see, in this communication system, organizational behavior. Unity of direction, organizational behavior, it has something to do. Order, scholarchy, centralization, remuneration, interests, then equity, stability, initiative, esprit de corps. Unity is a strength. You see, unity is a strength means it is a depending of speaking of the group. So now if you see from human resource aspect, all these principles are for whom connected? It is connected to the human resource. So we will be going one by one just to bring back to your mind what you have studied in the first year. So nothing special in this, and absolutely you can never forget this, that Henry Fayol, the administrative management theory, had given 14 principles and 5 functions. Okay, just to brief you and very fast and very quick, I will be moving with this. So division of work. According to this principle, The whole work of an organization is divided into small tasks, and each such task is assigned to one specialist who is well trained. This division of work leads to specialization, which is the most effective means to use human effort. Thus, work can be performed more effectively when it is divided into different tasks, and each such task is performed by one specialist. I need not explain, I feel, because one work is what you call one major work is divided into many parts and given to one individual. So that's called division of work. Then authority and responsibility. The term authority means power to take decisions, and responsibility means commitment to a given job. So one is the authority, one who takes the decision. Responsibility is a commitment for a particular job. So according to Henry Fayol, there must be a balance between authority and responsibility. For example, if an employee has been given a responsibility to do a job, then he must be provided with enough authority to perform his or her job efficiently, and vice versa. You see, now you are given a what you call a responsibility, but at the same time you should be given a freedom to take the this one decisions depending on your this what you call area where the work is assigned. Now you are given a particular charge to work, but if you are not given a authority there, no power for you, then it is a useless. Therefore authority and responsibility has to go hand in hand. That's what Henry Fayol says. Then discipline means following the rules and regulations of the organization and agreement of employment, as these are necessary for the functioning of an organization. As per this principle, all the employees working in an organization should function as a unified team and should follow organizational discipline. All of them should respect and follow a mutual system and code of conduct, that is, rules for taking leave, overtime allowance, reporting time, bonus, etc. Thus, discipline is very important for the smooth functioning of the organization. So, discipline has to be followed. So, every organization has a rules and regulations, and that has to be followed by the employees. Then, unity of command. So, according to this principle, an all employee should receive orders from one superior only, and to whom he or she should be answerable. A situation of conflict and confusion is created when an employee receives orders from more than one superior. Therefore, this principle of unity of command eliminates confusion and leaves no place for conflict. What it says is one person from one center, one person should get the communication or the order. So many people are telling many things, then whom to follow is a problem. Therefore, unity of command is also very important in the organizations. Then unity of direction. The principle of unity of direction states that those activities which have a common objective should be directed through one head and one plan. So it will help in bringing about unity of action and coordination in an organization. So in the direction also, the goal should be clear, and all whole organization should move with one direction, one goal, and each individual, each department has, if it has different goals, then it is a confused status. Priority to general interest over individual interest. As per this principle, the interest of the organization should be given top priority than the individual interest of employees. Thus, the common objectives of the organization should overtake the individual objective of the employees. See, what you call every individual has his own interests, his own what you call goals, self-interest, and all are there. But we must not move with our self-interest. Rather, we have to go with the organizational interest, because we are the moment an employee is entered to the organization, he is committing to the organization. Okay, it's fine that when you are achieving the organizational interest and goal, you will be achieving your own goals too. Fair remuneration to employees. According to this principle, the wages and salaries given to both the employer and the employees should be fair and equitable, and should also guarantee a reasonable standard of living. So it is not equal. You can't give equal salary to all the employees, because there are various categories, gradations, qualifications, and all everything. So equal salary is not expected, but equality in the salary and fair remuneration has to be given. Centralization. The process of centralization of decision making power with the one person is known as centralization. So, on the other hand, decentralization means the distribution of decision making power among more than one person. According to this principle, there is a need to bring decentralization through involvement of subordinates in decision making, but the final authority to take a decision should rest with the top management as per centralization. Thus, there should be a balance between centralization and decentralization depending on the type of organization. What it says is both centralization and decentralizations are very important. Centralizations to have a better performance in the organ, but decentralization so that lower level people also are get involved with the decision making process. Then the scalar chain. Scalar chain means the formal line of authority that flows from top to bottom. According to this principle, there should be a clear line of authority from top to bottom which will link superiors and subordinates at all levels. This scalar chain will work as a chain of command and communication. So, scalar chain means in the organization who is coming next in the authority process. So one after the another, a clear cut authority has to be what you call designed. Then order. According to this principle, there should be orderliness in an organization. In an organization, there should be an appropriate place for everything and everyone, and everything and everyone should be at the right place. So, proper order should be there in the organ. That is we call in the function of this one organizing. We say right people at the right job, right thing. What you call right material at a right place. Everything at a right. Not only people in the staffing. We say right person for a right job. Not only that, right what you call item should be at right time, right material, right time. Everything should be in a order. So another four principles, equity. So according to this principle, managers should be fair and kind towards their workers, and they should treat all workers equally. Thus, there should be no discrimination on the basis of sex, religion, caste, etc. And all the employees should be treated equally. We are aware that in the organizations different kind of the people are there, different sex people are there, different religions people are there. So there should not be any bias, or there should not be any discrimination. So partiality should not exist. Equity should be equal. All are equal in the what you call employment place. So stability of tenure of personnel. As per this principle, employees should have stability of tenure, and they should be given enough time to show their performance and talent. Also, repeated transfers and rotations should be minimized. If after settlement in the job an employee receives any transfer order, it will bring wastage of resources, and he or she will not be able to give his or her best to the organization. So what it says is, once you are employed, don't make them transfer now and then. Keep them for some times, or don't remove the people. What you call keep some people, give some time for them to perform. See that, okay. Then initiative. According to this principle, employees at every level should be given some freedom so that they may come forward and use their abilities and skills to achieve the expected goals. Moreover, there should be a suggestion system for employees whereby initiatives and suggestions from employees are invited. It will lead to creation of a healthy environment in an organization. See, when you are giving a little freedom to your employees, they take initiative, and that initiative will create a healthy environment in your organizations. And last one, we know that esprit de corps, unity is the strength. It refers to team spirit, which means harmony in work group and mutual understanding among employees. It will lead to creation of an atmosphere of mutual trust and understanding in an organization. It also focuses on the popular saying that is union is strength. We know that in the organization all should get united to work for a common goal. So these are the principles given by the what you call Henry Fayol. Just I repeated because all these principles have some connection with the organizational behavior. Something has to be done because these all are focusing on the organization basically from the point of view of the human resource. Now assessment. We have let's have a just evaluate the administrative management. So the contribution of Henry Fayol to management is worth noting. He has given some major ideas which proved beneficial. So management is universal. What he has said is management is universal. Wherever there is a organization, whether it is a charitable or a business organization, there should be a management. That is the primary thing. And the moment there is a management, you should know that organization behavior has to be given a importance. That's first point. Second point is managers can be formed, they are not born. So there is a theory in the what we will be studying in the second chapter, that is a trait theory, and trait theory says that what you call leaders are born, but here it is very clearly says that managers can be formed, they are not born. So over the years you can train expertise in the management. So third is there can be delegation of authority, not the responsibilities. So authority can be delegated. Fourth one, a person should be assigned one work at a time. So if he has given multiple tasks, then it is difficult. So that's what the point is stressed here is division of work. The authority should be clearly defined from top to bottom. Scalar chain it is stressing. So authority should be very clearly defined. Otherwise there will be a confusion and catastrophes. The information of authority and responsibility of every employee should be provided to them in writing. The information of authority and responsibility of every employee should be provided them in writing. Give them in writing. Otherwise, there will be a confusion. All managers should be assigned a control of not more than 6 subordinates at a time. So what you call is there is a span of management, and he has made it very clear that 6 subordinates should be there, not more than that. Thus, it can be concluded that the principles given by Henry Fayol are applied even today in order to provide guidance to the managers. And I am sure out of the 14, most of the principles are applicable even today, and it is followed in the management very clearly and very meticulously. So, this is the information regarding the what you call administrative management. I hope you have understood, and I have gone very fast. The reason is simple, you know these things, just I wanted to bring back some what you call information. So now we will move with the another this one what you call theory, that is the bureaucratic management. This is another approach towards the human resource, how they have given a thought on the human resource. Now we see in the second functions of human resource are stressed. The principles to be human resource are stressed by Henry Fayol. There in the scientific management to the human resource, his ideology was different. In the administrative management, human resource ideology was different. And bureaucratic management also, the word itself is bureaucratic, a commandive type, what you call autocratic style of management here. So the approach of bureaucracy was given by a social scientist of Germany, Max Weber. So bureaucratic management was developed by Max Weber. According to him, in order to move irregularities in management firm and strict rules should be made because irregulations lead to incompetence. What it says is to be a better management, have a strict rules and regulations. So now for the human resource, this one where he is stressing is a disciplined way of going about in the organization. He was of the view that there should be a well defined formal system in an organization in order to bring about success and efficiency. Besides, he was also of the belief that success and efficiency in an organization can be achieved only through bureaucracy. So, autocratic rules and regulations, you can achieve the success, he says. And he is stressing that there should be a well defined formal system. So, informally, you cannot go and achieve much success. A formal system is required according to the Max Weber. So, characteristics of bureaucratic management, what is there? Impersonal relationships among people. Under bureaucratic system of management, payment of rewards and prizes should be made on the basis of efficiency and skills of a person and not on the basis of personal relations with him or her. So, you don't think of your friendships when you want to make any payment or reward or a prize. So see that they are achievement. So impersonal relationship among the people, he may be your family member, he may be your relative, he may be your friend. Don't see anything, one who does achieve something, give him a reward. So systematic rules, in order to manage the activities of the organization systematic, The proper rules should be made and these should be strictly applied. So he is basing on the rules and regulations, and he says that in the management field there should be strictness. So division of work in suitable manner. So again this man also brings his division of labor, and we saw that division of labor is brought by scientific management, administrative management, as well as by bureaucratic management. The work should be divided in an organization on the basis of specialization. An employee should be assigned a work in which he or she is an expert. So another aspect of human resource, where you can give a specialized job for a special one who is what you call depending on the specialization, give him a job. Strong hierarchy of authority. The hierarchy of authority of the superiors and subordinates should be strong and should be visibly demarcated. The employees should be made responsible for the decisions made by him or her and his or her subordinates. So, what it says is there should be a proper superiors and subordinates. Basis of promotion. So in bureaucracy the promotion should be given to the employees on the basis of their efficiency, skills and abilities. So based on the efficiency, skills and abilities, promotion should be given and not based on your relationship and your friendships. So these are the bureaucratic what you call characteristics, very thinking of rigorous and all, and human resource, human touch is very less here. What is more is your discipline is given more importance, and production efficiency and skills abilities, that all are focused here much. So these are the bureaucratic. Now we will have a small assessment of the bureaucratic management. So the arguments in favor of this approach are as follows. So let's first see what you call favor. Then we'll have a criticism also. So this is not one of the absolute management theory. So it has a flaws. It as well at the same time it has also good things. So let's see what are the good things of this theory. So the consistency in the functioning of employees is ensured. So there is a what you call a proper what you call a way of working is achieved. It helps in bringing specialization through systematic division of work. So this is there. Then the efficiency of employees can be enhanced as they will be given promotion on the basis of their efficiency and skills. So people will be tempted to work more, do better because they will be getting a promotion. The organization is functioning in a continuous manner as the focus is not the individual but the workplaces. So complete focus in this administrative bureaucratic management is the workplace and not your independent interests. So criticisms of bureaucratic management. So due to framing of various rules and regulations, there is an increase in paperwork. So what you call rules, regulations, everything you have to be noted down. That's why paperwork is more. Means planning requires more time. The employees do not take any initiatives for the success of organization. Here you have made it rigorous, therefore no initiative as such. So employees don't feel to contribute much. There is a resistance to change by the workers. So workers don't want to change because there is a kind of atmosphere which is not a free or an open minded. There is increase in red tapeism or bureaucracy. Bureaucracy means what you call strict rules and regulations. So personal relations are completely overlooked. So no scope for the personal relations. This is a style of bureaucratic management which is not that what you call appreciable. Thus, it can be concluded that the concept of bureaucratic management is suitable for those organizations which do not get affected by changes such as in government departments or big business houses. So where there you don't require to change anything, everything goes in a system, and where you require a high kind of discipline, there you can implement this theory. So now you understand what kind of the human resource approach this theory proposes. This theory doesn't give you a freedom, no initiative, no good relations there, but just the work and work, discipline, rules, regulations, tightness, a kind of rigid mentality there. So these all aspects are coming out of the bureaucratic management. Now you have seen how the management, what you call behaviors are what you call flown over the years through the scientific management, administrative management, and bureaucratic management. So for the time being today, I'll be closing here. and we'll see tomorrow some more approaches, especially the neoclassical approaches, where much of the importance is given to the human relations. So human resource approach and human relations approach is there, that we'll be looking after, and that is especially given by Elton Mayo. So and after that we'll be seeing another two modern approaches. So there will be closing the approaches to the organization behavior. Thank you.